Hello, everyone. Hope you had a good weekend. I wanted to do a talk about hand wound mechanical movements in watches. These three are examples of Swiss made watches that have a hand wound movement. I know that the vast majority of you that would watch or listen to a video like this are fully aware what that is, but just in case, hand wound means you have to wind the watch to keep it running and get it running. Most movements are automatic, which means there's a rotor that spins around that kind of automatically winds the watch. You still have to set it if the power runs down. You still can wind them. That's the automatic movements. But you could actually power it by getting the rotor spinning, sort of shaking, rotating the watch, those other, the automatic movements. So getting into these three watches, we have an IWC Portugueser, an Omega Speedmaster late 1970s, and a panerai Luminor Marina 8 days PAM 510. So I really like hand wound movements. So I've got what do I have? 8 watches or 7 watches? I have around 7 pretty nice watches. I should know the number. But these, it's a pretty large percentage to have, almost half of them are hand wound movements. I just really like it. Many would talk about you have the, sort of an intimate, not sexual, intimate connection with the watch because you have to sort of stay on top of winding it via a routine, or whether, depending on the power reserve, whether it's a day or 2 or 3, or in the case of this panerai, it's an 8-day power reserve. So if it's fully wound, it'll run for essentially a week, which is really pretty damn cool. I've been impressed multiple times with that. When I put it away, and then I'm somewhat shocked it's still running. So anyway, for me, the biggest thing is not this intimacy with the watch, although I do kind of like that with hand wound movements or hand winding movements. To me, the thing that kind of gets me is the feeling of winding it. With some watches, you can just sort of feel the quality. It's like this buttery, smooth kind of, you can just feel the quality. And I'm not saying it has to be like an off the charts expensive watch necessarily to feel that, but I can tell you I've wound plenty of hand wind movements, or even automatic movements, because you can still wind those obviously, that feel kind of crappy. I'm like, God, this thing costs X $1,000 or X $100 or what have you, and it feels this terrible. So these three do feel really, really good. Especially impressive that the Omega, being as old as it is, like what? God, this is a watch that is probably almost 50 years old and has the 861 movement, and it feels pretty damn nice to wind it. Of course, it's been serviced. It's not, just kind of crunchy and ancient, which would be a problem, I'm sure. But this IWC Portugueser, oh my God, does this feel incredible to wind. It could be because you've got this in-house movement that is modeled after a pocket watch movement, of an IWC pocket watch movement. It just feels amazing to wind. And I must say the panerai feels really impressive too. They probably don't get enough credit. So this is the panerai, I believe it's a P5000 mechanical hand wound movement with the 8 days power reserve. So anyway, loving hand winding movements. For me, again, the big thing is kind of the way it feels to wind it. I know this may be weird to some of you, but there are watches out there that feel amazing to wind. Check it out sometime. Take care.